Stacy, band that changed your life.
U2. Shocker. I think U2 is the first band that I ever listened to that like sang about political things, and I didn't know you were allowed to do that. I was young, like maybe 7 or 8, and I watched the documentary. Maybe I was older than that. I don't know. What's the name of that documentary?
Rattle and Hum.
How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Nope. Oh, I should say I like U2 pre Bono's like weird yellow glasses. So like 80s U2. Nothing.
Not pop or zoo or zoo. What is it?
Zooropa.
Zooropa, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, U2, but all the stuff.
There's some good stuff in those albums, though.
There really is.
Yeah, but
I like How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb.
Well, that came at like that's kind of post Zooropa. That's where they kind of got back to like.
It was like 2004.
Let's be normal.
Yeah.
There was a point where they like embraced almost like techno pop kind of a sound, and it was different, but there was some good stuff in there.
I don't know.
You can't put Bono in a box. You can't contain him.
No, it's illegal. You can't do that.
I try, but I really like the super old stuff that's really awkward. Like, I don't know. I'd rather listen to the really awkward them trying to figure out their sound and who they are to the like newer stuff. I don't know, but it was because of all the like political stuff and that they had this like stance. And I remember watching Rattle and Hum and then talking about what was going on in Ireland and thinking like, oh, like you could change the whole world with this stuff. It was like the first time my little baby brain ever thought that. Like I really remember like listening to U2 and going like, I could change the world. Like watching rain fall out of the window while I was being like a 4.
A 4? Oh,
A4.
A4.
Yeah.
While I was being a 4.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've tried to convince Sean, like every single time I preached, I try to convince Sean to do a U2 song. I think every time.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, I think you did almost every time too.
Pretty much.
Bono sang with Pavarotti one time. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody. Sean's gone again. I don't know if anybody can hate U2, or I don't know. I don't understand people who hate them. I think they're one of those impossible bands to hate. All right, Trey, band that changed your life.
Sean touched on it already. So I was trying to think of this like transcendental moment in my life where I heard music and it just like I transformed instantaneously upon hearing, the opening chord of It's Been a Hard Day's Night or something like that. It's just this like transcendental moment or anything like that. But I started thinking more about it and I realized I grew up in a family where Elvis was beloved and cherished. And we knew all his music, but simultaneously, while they were worshiping Elvis and his music, we always listened to Little Richard. And I always loved Little Richard's music. But I knew little to nothing about Little Richard. And throughout the course of my life, as I got older and I listened to it more and I started to listen to Chuck Berry and getting more and more into it and learning more about them, I always knew Elvis as the king of rock and roll. And in my lily white conservative world, Elvis was rock and roll. He was it. He was the basis of it. He was the king of it. And the more I learned about Little Richard and the more I realized, he's one of the founders of it. He's the architect of rock and roll. So much music that we love and appreciate. And really, I mean, this is not the Beatles podcast, but to take it back to so much of the influence that Little Richard music had on Paul McCartney. He's openly talked about his love and admiration for Little Richard. The more I realized, and again, transformative throughout the life, transitional, I realized how much Little Richard has had an effect on my life both in my respect and understanding of rock and roll, of his impact on it, both creating it, setting the foundation for it, his influence on other people, but also just my perspective of how he's changed how I view the danger and the potential for appropriation and things like that. You know, it's like I said, Elvis was rock and roll to me in the way I grew up, and to realize that Elvis wasn't rock and roll, Elvis was stealing rock and roll. I would say that because of that, I don't know if there's anyone who's had a more profound effect on my view on music, on the roots of rock and roll and how it is, and rockabilly and just soul and jazz. And you know, it's crazy to me to think about all of the music I listened to of his growing up. I mean, there was a time in my childhood where Tutti Frutti was my absolute favorite song. I always wanted it played. I constantly requested it, and I just knew
Tutti
it was by
Frutti!
Little Richard. Yeah.
More Tutti Frutti.
And there was, I for the life of me, I couldn't remember it, but there's like a movie he was in that Little Richard was in, where he plays this, like, you know, basically almost a caricature of himself, this larger than life character that sings a lot of his own music. But that the way he shaped rock and roll, the way he laid so much of the framework for it, and how in retrospect throughout the course of my life, learning more about him and how it is led me down paths to learn more about the origins of that style of music, and how it's affected my views and my sensitivities on musical appropriation. I never thought of being a musician. I never thought of music as something that could be appropriated. I thought it was transcendental. I thought it was complementary. That when you do another culture's music, you're lending a voice to it. You're not stealing it. And I do still believe you can do that, but clearly that was not the case in this Elvis worship world. And I Little Richard changed my life and a lot of my views of music and how we use it. So
well said. It's weird it's weird that we live in a country where art can be appropriated, mostly because we can make music, or we can make money off of music. And so I think that's a lot to do with it in terms of why art is so ripe to be appropriated, and different cultures are able to be appropriated in this country. But yeah, that's a good answer.
Well, and it's a sensitive topic with choral music. If you have an all-white choir, there's a bit of a hesitation of, well, can I do African American spirituals and gospels, and should we? And there's a whole school of thought. And Andre Thomas is he's retired now, but he was the choral director at Florida State for a long time, and he's a black choral musician, black director that does a lot of stuff on African American spirituals and gospels. And he basically says, yes, you can. It's and even that in the performance practice of it, that you should pronounce the shortened words, in that great getting morning, as opposed to in that. He says to say in that is disrespectful to the history and the culture of it. And he says, but it's if an all-white choir does it, it's fine. It's not appropriation at that point. What would be appropriation is to take in that great getting morning and say, it's mine. This is my music, which is what Elvis did. Elvis took rock and roll and said, this is mine.
Yeah.
So it's, Little Richard.
Okay, band that changed my life. I've learned that when it comes to music, I think I'm a lot more cerebral than other people in terms of like, I think like most people, when they think of music, they think of like the melody and hooks and like all that kind of stuff, which of course I love that kind of stuff. But I also think that I put a lot of emphasis on things like Josh Ritter, where there's just a lot of substance to the lyrics and the ideas and the things in the music. So I'm going to say band that changed my life is a music artist, and I'm going to say Derek Webb, because at a time in college, when I started to kind of rethink a lot of my own embedded theology that I kind of grew up with, and started to kind of change my own perception and look for my own faith and look for my own way of seeing God and seeing how God acts in the world. I think the two main people who influenced me at that time would be Brian McLaren and his work as an author, and then also Derek Webb and his music, and both kind of giving me the okay of just like, it is okay to have these questions, it is okay to have these doubts, and also even better, there might be better answers than the ones that you've been given your whole life. So that in a lot of ways is how I kind of think of Derek Webb's music changing my life, helping me to look at things within Christian subculture and things outside of Christian subculture and kind of see it in a different and new way. And he also is one of those guys where his lyrics a lot of times are just, they're just spot on in terms of their articulation of faith and articulation of how that faith can be both damaging and life-giving. So Derek Webb.
In terms of it gets a lot of attention for its shock value, but really one of the most profound lyrics that's ever affected me is, "I am a whore, I do confess, I put you on just like a wedding dress." And a lot of people just focus on the fact that, oh, he says whore, but it's like a profoundly shocking and true sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would get in a lot of trouble at times for ridiculous things. Where, I mean, when I first heard wedding dress, like I cried, and I'm not even sure if I know that he wouldn't, he has said as much, but like, I don't know if I even think of things in that way anymore, in terms of, am I a piece of crap who like has to put on, but at the same time, at that time though, for me, like that I was just like, you're not pulling any punches. This isn't supposed to be easily digestible. And I think a lot of what CCM did was, hey, how can we make Christianity as easily digestible as possible? To now where that's what people think Christianity is. They think it's this very easily digestible thing where we can just, say these catchphrases and catchwords and then we're done. And that's what Christianity is. So I think his way of like attacking that and subverting that was very important for me.
I have mine's not nearly as deep as y'all's, so bear with me, but mine's just Smashing Pumpkins. There was a period of time in my life where they were kind of my introduction to just a completely new genre of music, and then that opened the door to Oasis and the Verve and all sorts of kind of really just alternative kind of music. And
I love the Verve.
Yeah, for sure. And so yeah, Smashing Pumpkins opened the door. I remember when my first album that I bought from them, I actually got it for Christmas one year, was Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. And Tonight was like kind of that music video actually on MTV was what really kind of was like, all right, I need this. And so yeah, Smashing Pumpkins completely changed my perspective of music and what I appreciated and what I enjoyed listening to. There's nothing else there.
Well, because at the time, weren't you listening to very different kinds of music?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, that came pretty soon after that kind of rebellious country phase that I was talking about. I mean, and I mean, living in Hamilton, Texas, you hear a lot of country or pop. The pop station, the top 40 station that played out of Waco, and so that's what everybody was listening to, and so in and of itself, it was a little rebellious, just in what everybody else was listening to, and so I listened to that, and weirdly, the Wallflowers kind of came after that, and yeah, that sort of stuff.
So as I'm sure many of us were, I wasn't supposed to watch MTV growing up. It's taboo. You don't do it. You might see bad things, but I would sneak and do it all the time. I have, my brother 6 years older than me, so he would watch it, and so I would watch it with him. And I didn't care a lot about music videos. I just didn't find them to be terribly interesting. I was always interested in music. Music videos were neither here nor there. There are two exceptions to that where music videos have just stuck with me my entire life. And one of them is Tonight Tonight by Smashing Pumpkins.
Me too.
And the other,
Me too.
Yeah, it is just stark in my memory. Like this sort of slow motion stop, wavy movement. And the other one is Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden.
Yeah.
It's those two, they're fantastic music videos.
Yeah. And then that, I mean, honestly, that kind of era of MTV got me into Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, like you said. I mean, there are a lot of, man, I really miss that era of music videos. Honestly, there's just a lost art there, I think. But anyway, everybody says that.
Well, I also think music videos,
they still make them.
Yeah, they do.
I thought they stopped.
No, they do.
I legitimately thought it was a bygone era.
They're just on YouTube now.
Right.
Yeah.
I think music videos have done this thing of they're not simple anymore. They're getting more and more complicated, which in some ways is really cool. And then in other ways, it's just man, you don't have to have a freaking 30-minute short film for your 2-minute song The Weekend. But I don't know. I sound like a very disgruntled old man.
The way he said The Weekend, idiot.
But yes, I totally understand what you mean by that was a time that I don't think that has come and gone, and I don't think you can ever get back there. Yeah,
I loved music videos so much, and we weren't allowed to watch MTV either, but we would do the on the remote where you can push the last button. So it'd be Disney Channel and MTV, and I could hear my dad coming in, and we would push the last button. We're watching Boy Meets World, whatever. I don't know.
Did I hear Ace of Base in here?
I'm learning how to be a feminist.
Was that 9 Inch Nails?
What did he say?
The Gaultier, just somebody that I used to know. That song,
Yeah.
They're popular 6-7 years ago. The music video was really big that he made of him painted against the wall or something like that. And that was the first time I was like, people still make these? This is still a thing?
All right, Stacy, band that surprised you.
Oh, speaking of ridiculous music videos, Beyonce. I really I think Lemonade was the first time I really listened to Beyonce. I didn't know that was she's good. I had no idea. Yeah.
Is that your answer?
That's really my answer.
Okay, yeah.
Beyonce surprised you.
Yes, Beyonce.
But it's it's good.
Yeah.
Did you see, speaking of overly elaborate music videos, have you seen is it Black is King?
Oh, no, not yet.
What is it?
I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about. On Disney Channel or Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus. Am I the only one who's seen that?
I've not seen it.
Never seen that.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like she refers to it as a visual album. It's like a, I don't know, 30, 45 minute thing where it's just, it's like a 30 to 45 minute long music video, but like for different songs coming in and out and different set pieces. And it's supposed to kind of like tell this story. It's kind of based around the Lion King, which is kind of weird, but it's very good though. Like, yes, she as an artist is very talented. And I think she tries to like break through a lot of different kinds of barriers and what a pop star is and what that means and what that looks like. I like Beyonce a lot.
Yeah, but I had no idea that that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, Beyonce, another pop star, like big deal. I didn't know she was doing all the other things. So when I actually listened, I was like, oh, like you're doing work over here.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so stupid because like everybody knows that, but I really didn't.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she worked her way there. She wasn't doing that when she was like with Destiny's Child, you know. And even like whenever she first started off on her own, I think that was something she worked up to. And Lemonade was one of those big like moments of like, I want to make an album that actually says something.
Yeah. Like I was telling Dustin, I was like, you got to listen to it. And he's like, I don't know. I go, no, the musicality of this is so good. Like I'm trying to convince him to listen to it. And he did. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So I felt better that I wasn't the only one.
Y'all should watch Black is King. It's good.
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, so Becca convinced me to say, even though she disagreed with me, that Led Zeppelin, she convinced me that should be one, because the two I was trying to decide between was Led Zeppelin or Beyonce for overrated.
Uh-oh.
Because I don't get it. I just don't. I've listened to so much of her music, and I find some of her artistry excellent, and she's a phenomenal musician. She's a phenomenal artist. I don't discredit any of that, but just in terms of her voice, in terms of her lyrics, in terms of her artistry, I can give you like someone that I think is better in each of those areas. Like,
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like, again, I'm same as Led Zeppelin. I don't think Beyonce is bad. I just don't get the hype. And I think part of it's her and Jay-Z's relationship. Like, they're a couple and all of that power status. And
You think they're part of the cabal?
I don't think I said that.
Are they a part of that pizza thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I guess another reason I'm kind of
okay. They're not. I want to be clear.
Are you saying they are?
They are not, but a QAnon person would say they are. So
got it.
Which none of us are.
And I feel like I'm a little bit turned off because anytime I try to express that, the Beehive is.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm like, no, I mean, Beyonce is good, but I just don't get the thing. And they're like, why do you hate her?
I think that's a more dangerous take than like being against Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Beyonce is like worshipped. All right, Trey, band that surprised you.
Zach Brown Band. I love their music. I really do, unashamedly. I almost thought about putting them as guilty pleasure. I shouldn't say unashamedly because I almost wanted to put them for guilty pleasure. But when Becca and I first started dating, I listened to virtually no music post 1990, like no country music post 1990s. I thought it was all just absolute trash. And I stand by the fact that the vast majority of it is. But Zach Brown Band, there's just something about it kind of takes me back a little bit to being a kid, and most of their stuff is good and wholesome and comforting and just makes me feel good. I really enjoy listening to it on the beach. There's a couple times where they get cringeworthy, like Chicken Fried, when they just randomly start talking about patriotism in the middle of this song. That's a little cringy, but somehow I still like it a little bit. So band that surprised me, Zach Brown Band. I never thought I'd like them, and I listen to them quite frequently. And also, no matter how you feel about their music, Zach Brown is a phenomenal guitar player. So
The Foo Fighters did a collaboration with them on that show Sonic Highways, and I'm not interested in them at all until then. It was pretty good. Can't remember the song they did. Congregation, maybe. Whatever studio Zach Brown band goes out of, it's like an old church, maybe, or something. Anyway, I appreciated the creativity that he put into that. So there's a show called Sonic Highways where the Foo Fighters go around to various studios around the United States, and they collaborate and they made a whole album of songs with other artists in different studios, and they did one with Zach Brown, and it was good.
Was it on HBO?
It was on HBO. It was based on a show called Sound City. I think they did a documentary called Sound City. There was a recording studio out of LA that they were closing down, and so they were going to record like an album or something in that studio before it closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did a documentary called Sound City, and they said, we like this. Let's do an entire series of shows where we go to different studios. So they did one called Sonic Highways, and they did one at Preservation Hall, which was awesome. That was really cool. They did one with the Preservation Hall band
That's cool.
at Pres Hall. Yeah. But the whole thing was they went to these cities and kind of talked about the history of the music in that city. But they did like deep cuts in those cities. I mean, they did one at the old Austin city limits. I mean, they did one in Washington, D.C., Seattle. Anyway, but they did one with Zach Brown that was really good. I thought. I don't know where you can find that show now, but I would check it out. It's actually a really good show.
Sound Highways.
Sonic Highways. The documentary that it's based on is called Sound City.
Sonic Highways, Old South.
Oh.
Nailed it.
I know next to nothing about the Zach Brown band.
It's good. It's good new old country music. It's no Garth Brooks, who is quite awesome, but it's fun music. There's no depth to it. It's just fun, and it surprised me that I enjoyed it as much as I did.
Cool. Band that surprised me. This is an artist. Lizzo. I love Lizzo. Both her music and her as a person. Yeah, her music is smart and funny and catchy and just really great, and like her confidence, she just exudes this kind of confidence that never comes off as cocky. It's like the perfect kind of confidence a person should have. And I fell even more in love with her when I saw her on My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, the David Letterman thing on Netflix where he interviews people. He interviews her, and man, like she's just so great. I just love her. And also the thing that I learned about her on that show was that she is like this awesome flautist.
And she's classically trained. She
yes, and like has like all these flutes and like can pick up a flute and like do stuff that I didn't know flutes could do. Like I've never, no offense to flute players, but like I've never thought the flute was a cool instrument until I saw Lizzo pick one up and play it, and I was just like, that is so cool. And so yeah, Lizzo, she's awesome.
She's incredible. Becca introduced me to her, and I have loved her music.
I want to see what she can do with the flute now.
But on Netflix, My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, the Lizzo episode, it's really good. And she writes a song, or she tries to get Dave Letterman to do a song with her, like just create a song in her studio with her, and it is the most cringe-inducing thing I think I've ever seen. Seeing Dave Letterman try to do that, but it's really funny, and she goes with it, and yeah, she's cool.
Sean?
Is this me now? Oh yeah.
Why
I'm
men
sorry.
great till they gotta be great?
So I keep for like the first month I heard that song, and Becca didn't correct me at first. I sincerely thought she was saying white men great till they gotta be great.
Ooh,
And I was like bopping to it. I was like, yeah,
that also works.
they aren't great. And then she was like, while you're correct and that's appropriate, that's not the lyric. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So the band that surprised me is the Highwomen. I'm
The Highway Women.
Stop it. It's the Highwomen.
Not according to everybody that I've ever seen on social media talking about them.
Apparently not. Yeah. I'm not super into super groups. I think typically it breeds kind of some dysfunction and some honestly, if you're talking about like an album, constructing an album, it feels disjointed to me typically. When you have a super group, to be clear, the Highwomen is Brandy Carlisle, Natalie Hemby, Maren Morris, and Amanda Shires, who are all four noted artists in their own right that came together to form a super group. And their music is phenomenal. They only have one album and a couple of singles on the side. They're including an amazing cover of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, which it's unreal. But anyway, they surprised me just honestly, just really in terms of the cohesion and I guess cohesiveness of their album, how it feels like a band that's been together for 15 years. But also their lyrics. I mean, it's in that same vein, that progressive kind of push in country music, and not surprising. But anyway, yeah, the Highwomen would be one that I think really surprised me for all really good reasons.
I really like them, I particularly love Amanda Shires, both in that group, but just her solo stuff. And
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I only knew her as Jason Isbell's wife, which I understand is very, is not cool. But she opened for Josh Ritter the last time I saw him. And, man, she just blew me away. Like both just her, same thing with Isbell, is just like her honesty in her songs and her lyrics. She has this fantastic song about I forget the name of it, but it's about a man that her father was friends with who attempted suicide. They both lived in Alaska at the time, and it's this harrowing song about mental illness that is also so incredibly honest and beautiful. And also, one of the things that I realized is, like, as she started doing her set, like, I leaned over to Jenny and I was just like, if you closed your eyes, like, you would think that Dolly Parton was up there singing somebody else's song, but she sounds so much like Dolly Parton that it's creepy. And I love her voice. I love Dolly Parton's voice, but I love Amanda Shires' voice, and I don't love Lady Gaga's voice. If I haven't made that clear or not.
Yeah, and they've sung with Dolly before. They're apparently very close. All that whole Highwomen band. But yeah, it's. I think that would be very, very comparable, just in terms of genre and sound. But anyway, yeah, I admittedly don't know enough about Amanda Shires' stuff. I know she just released something brand new a few days ago, I think, that I haven't even checked out yet. But anyway, but yeah, the whole group's amazing. I mean, Brandy Carlisle, Jason Isbell wrote a song called "If She Ever Leaves Me," and Amanda Shires, they wrote it together. And "If She Ever Leaves Me," and the chorus is, I loved her. I've loved her in secret. I've loved her out loud. And I can't remember the rest. Anyway, but Brandy Carlisle said, "I want to sing that." And she's, she's in a same gender marriage, and she sang it for this album, and it's this mainstream country album, with a woman singing about another woman, and I think it's quite moving to think about the just the path that song has taken, and how it's changed meaning from person to person who's sung it, and how it started out as this simple kind of love song and became this unbelievable moving ballad, just based on whoever's singing it. That song alone is enough, really, to say that it's that band surprised me.
Brandy Carlisle, also an amazing singer, like
Absolutely.
an amazing voice.
Stacey, what band is your guilty pleasure?
This is such a weird question because I'm just really not embarrassed by the things that I listen to. So I went with the last thing that what?
Right. I think Trey and I both at the same time go,
Like I should.
You can't use Nelly or Rush again. So
That's not embarrassing. I just went with the last thing Dustin made fun of me for listening to. Halsey.
Halsey?
Yeah.
Halsey? Oh.
Yeah.
Have you listened to her before? Is that embarrassing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know much about Halsey.
I wouldn't be
other than that it exists.
She
exists. I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know what.
I really like her. Like, I'm really into her, but she has a song that it kind of reminds me of Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Is it part of your world?
No, it's like very what's
Just the
those
girl?
metal drum things?
Steel drums?
That sounds too easy. I don't know. It's got that in there, and
Steel drums are real.
They're called steel drums.
okay, but
Yeah, you're not gonna get me with that one.
What are the metal drums, steel drums? Joke's on you. I'm not falling for that.
Oh, sure. Okay.
No, but I mean, Jimmy Buffett's made millions off steel drums. So.
okay, fine. Maybe there's still drums. I don't know, but it sounds like Little Mermaid, and she's singing "Mother Effer, Don't Play with Me" like over and over. I don't know. I really like it, but apparently it's something that you should be embarrassed of, and you should turn down when your spouse isn't at home.
Okay. Is Halsey? How do I know Halsey? Is there any like touchstone, cultural
She was
touchstone?
on SNL last season.
Bad at Love. I think you've heard the song before. Anyway,
Maybe.
I just really like her. Apparently, I should be embarrassed by that. I'm not.
If this is the level of knowledge I have about Rush, this is the level of knowledge I have about Halsey.
She's really pretty.
Because at least at this level, I've heard of Rush. When you said Halsey, I said, I don't know what the hell she just said. Like, I can't even come up with something to maybe replace it with because I have no idea.
Am I saying her name wrong, Sean?
No, you're saying it
No,
right.
I think that's right. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
I think it's ignorance on our part.
I've heard of it. I've never heard it.
She's not an
She-
it. It's she.
So I know her from SNL. I also know her. Weirdly, you said Little Mermaid. She sang the song "Part of Your World" for one of the Disney little musical things that they've done since the pandemic.
See, I called it. I said that.
Yeah, so they did. She did sing that. So maybe that's what you're thinking of.
I don't know. Justin said I should be embarrassed by listening to that.
Okay, so Dead South, Rush, Black is King. There's
Halsey,
another one. No, there's another one.
Hi, women.
Dead
Highway Women,
Dead South,
Halsey,
Halsey, Highway Women.
High Women.
All right, Trey, guilty pleasure.
It's interesting. Guilty pleasure makes me feel like I should be ashamed, but I'm not ashamed. Justin Bieber is an incredible musician. I don't like any of his teeny bopper stuff, but everything he's created in the past 5 years is legitimately good music, and he's a very good musician. So I really enjoy Justin Bieber.
What about his worship songs?
Nope. However, I will say Holy with Chance the Rapper, that's a bop. That's a good song. Holy with Chance the Rapper, Lonely, it's a good song. Both of them are good songs. I like them.
This is just shocking to me.
What is the song? What is the song that's that was really popular a couple years ago of his?
Baby,
What?
baby. Oh, like baby.
No, no,
Oh,
no, 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 no.
oh yeah. That's I don't like that one. Why don't you go and love yourself?
Yes. That is a good song.
Yes, it is.
I will agree that right there is a good song.
If you ever just step back and actually listen, he's got an incredible voice. There's videos of him just sitting down at the piano and playing. He's quite talented. And if you have not yet listened to Lonely, I recognize, I think Justin Bieber is just fun type music, but most of it's not super meaningful or profound. But go listen to Lonely. If you've not listened to Lonely yet, it is deep, it's emotional, it's raw. I think it's a true reflective sentiment of his experience growing up in the world that he's grown up in, which is obviously something I could never relate to because he's been famous since he was like 12 years old. But the song Lonely, I've always kind of liked Justin Bieber and thought, this is fun music. But Lonely is I think a reflection of a deeper level of musicianship and emotion. So Justin Bieber, I am unashamed to say I am a believer.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh god.
That's not true. That's not. But I do think he's got some good music.
Love Yourself has a great lyric in it that's my mama don't like you and she likes everyone.
Yes.
Yes. That's a great
My mama don't like you and she likes everyone.
Okay. All right, my guilty pleasure, of which I am not guilty at all. My man, Sting. I love. He's weird and like his music is strange, but I can't get enough of it. And yeah, that goes back to The Police too. I really like The Police, but
So do I.
But there's something about Sting's solo stuff. Tell me why. You said so do I, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I thought you said tell me why. I was
Tell
like,
me why. He's really upset about Sting.
So that's how I felt about Justin Bieber, and now I'm going to listen to Justin Bieber. But I feel you on Sting. I didn't know you should be embarrassed, though.
Oh, I don't think you should. But I think probably Sting is not my demo.
Really?
Probably not. I don't think so. I think Sting is more thought of as like a demo of like, I don't know, 50 to 60-year-old women. I don't know. I could be completely off. I could be completely off there.
50 to 52-year-old women.
You're 49, you're 61, not allowed.
Am I wrong? Is Sting is it would you say that, yeah, I'm willing to bet money that 36-year-old dude really likes Sting?
I don't know. It's not surprising to me that you like Sting. Like, I'm not shocked like I am about Justin Bieber over there. Well, because you're a weird bloke.
You're kind of a Sting fan. Like
I've always thought if there's a guy who loves Sting, it's probably my guy.
No, but
I don't think it surprises me because I like Sting. I don't have strong feelings towards him like you do, but
I get excited. Like I legitimately will get excited if a Sting song comes on, and I turn it up like it's Nelly. And I'm not joking. Like my daughter, my Ellie will walk around the house singing Englishmen in New York because she's been around me so much listening to Sting.
Nice.
I like Sting.
I'm just really into tantric sex.
Ooh.
Sting is known to
He's
do
that's
that.
just that's
What was his claim that it was like that he could like
Yes.
have sex for like 6 hours or something?
it was I believe it was more than 6,
Oh my.
but I don't remember.
I
More
believe
than
him.
6.
I believe him.
That
Wouldn't you just get
sounds
bored?
If there's a
painful and boring.
if there's yeah, do you bring a book? Like
Like with another.
Just like gods and generals on in the background that like preoccupy all that time.
gods and generals.
I'm trying to think of a very long movie.
I understand what you were
And
doing,
something
but
that would also kind of kill the
that-
mood to make
that
it.
you went for gods and generals. That's where
It's
I'm
the
really
longest movie I've ever seen. It's like 4 hours. Like
I
Ken
can
Burns' Civil War.
I can legitimately say I have never heard anyone make a gods and generals reference in my life.
Sure, I'm glad too.
I am impressed.
I'm glad
Like
that
you didn't
can...
go with Gettysburg. You went with gods and generals. That's good. I like it. All right, Sean. Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. Jonathan Bon Jovi.
Swear to God, I thought you were going to pull out the Highwaymen.
The Highwaymen. John Bon Jovi. It's a guilty pleasure. That's a guilty pleasure for me. Are you
So
going
we
to say
said-
something?
Well, we
That's
said
a
this
drop.
recently, right? We said like no. Well, I made the claim that no one hates or loves Bon Jovi, and you, of course, made the claim that Crystal does, your wife,
Right. Yes.
and she does.
does.
And I submit that I am wrong because that is true. She does. But I also think like I don't trust anyone who doesn't like Bon Jovi.
Mm.
How can you not at least like Bon Jovi?
Yeah.
Like anytime you hear a Bon Jovi song, you just kind of dance and sing. Like you can't not.
Well, and he
Angry.
Yeah.
and I learned retroactively, I think through like Chuck Klosterman, because he'll write a lot about like hair metal bands in the 80s. But like he was the one that brought it to my attention that like at that time Bon Jovi was like not at all respected and was kind of thought as like teeny bopper music, hair metal, which I when I read that I was like, okay, like I can kind of see that, but give me Bon Jovi over Twisted Sister.
Right. Yeah, I'll take Bon Jovi over Cinderella.
Yeah.
He weirdly seems like the artist that made it out of that era with some self-respect.
Yeah.
Right, which is weird.
Do you
because
feel that? Yeah.
Which is weird because of how apparently he was thought of, or that band was thought of at the time. I think a lot of it had to do with he was handsome. He's a handsome man, and everybody and like the other
Still
ones
is.
weren't. But yeah, he was kind of seen as just like, oh, just women like him.
Well, and because of that, maybe he kind of flew under the radar, and that's why he came out unscathed.
Yeah, maybe.
No one was really like looking to strike him down.
Maybe so. I recently rewatched the West Wing. He was on the West Wing. I mean, for goodness sake,
Wait.
he had a cameo in an episode of the West Wing as
Season.
himself.
Oh yeah,
The last
I
season.
just,
later.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
in the later
okay, yeah.
years.
I
As
rewatched
himself,
it, but I
though.
stopped at season 5. So.
And he was funny.
Santos.
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone should just stop at season 5 and pretend that's the end.
Santos. Santos for president.
We're gonna do TV shows of your life one day, and we can talk about them. Someone's going to need to write a dissertation about this because after we started talking about it in the text the other day, I sort of dwelled on it for a moment. I thought there's never been a John Bon Jovi song that I heard that I was like, yeah, man, I love him. But there's also never been one that's come on that I've been like, I need to turn this off. I like listen to it and I get into it, and then I just kind of move on with my life. And that's every single
Yeah.
song I've ever heard has been like that. Like he's a pleasant person. He's just a pleasant musician.
He owned an arena football league team for a while.
Yeah, that's also true.
Teenage.
That's also a thing he did.
It's something that Bon Jovi did.
I will say, Teenage Michael probably would disagree with you there, Trey, because I was convinced that there's a very, like, I don't know if anybody knows of this song. It's a song called Dry County, and it's on Bon Jovi's album Keep the Faith. And Teenage Michael was like, man, this song is like, it's like about so many things. Like Dry County, man, it's about a lot. Now, I don't know what it is, but I was convinced as a teenager, like that was what a deep song was Dry County by Bon Jovi.
I don't know if I know that one.
Again, it is not one of his hits. For some reason, I listened to that album a lot, Keep the Faith, and maybe I thought it was a Christian album.
For some reason.
Or my parents did. Anyway, Stacy, what is the band that you should have seen by now?
Mumford and Sons.
Oh, yes, you should have.
I've
Yeah.
never seen them.
I get that.
Yeah.
They're
and
incredible. They're incredible live.
I don't know that I ever will. Like maybe when we're super old.
Dark.
Well, not like I'm gonna die. That like going to shows gives me a lot of anxiety now.
Yeah.
Like I used to like that when I was younger, but now it just makes me really nervous.
Depends on the venue.
Maybe like if
There are
you're at-
venues that I
does.
will never go to again.
Right.
Palladium.
Yes.
I will never go to the Palladium ever again. Just because of a bad experience I had there.
They play what was formerly, I don't know what it's called now, JAXA. It's been like 9 or 10 different names. But they play there frequently when they come to Dallas, and you just go sit on the lawn. You can space out. You know.
I would like that. I'll probably wait until they hit like the casino circuit.
I don't know if Mumford and Sons will ever hit the casino circuit. That doesn't really feel like Mumford and Sons vibe.
There are times where Stacy will say something and we're all quiet for a little bit and we're all waiting to see who's going to react first. And that was one of those times. And Trey lost.
That really hurt me. I don't know why.
I do that
Mumford
shit
and Sons
all the time, where I think I'm saying something really funny and you just sit there and get me.
Well, because sometimes you're not saying anything funny and we're not sure.
That is a joke. Mumford and Sons doesn't appear on my list, but it's well documented in this group how much I enjoy them.
Yeah.
And I have a picture. What?
I wanted to do a sermon series with you where we just did Mumford songs.
I'm okay with that. I have a picture of Marcus Mumford's shoulder on my phone because I grabbed it. I touched his elbow. I'm a big fan, but it's cool.
I've recently I don't know. I feel like it there was a period of time where it became uncool to like Mumford and Sons. You know, I mean, they went out of fashion or whatever, and I went with the trend. Sadly, whatever, it's fine. I've recently started listening to them again and trying to backtrack and find those those gems. And part of it started with that podcast, Song Exploder, that Song Exploders podcast. They did a song for that podcast, which was fantastic. There's a Netflix show now called Song Exploder based on the podcast. It's done almost exactly the same way. Anyway, I would recommend that. But going back and listening to some of their stuff, and then also now I've been watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV, and the theme song is by Mumford and Sons, and they use a lot of Mumford and Sons songs in that show. So I've been trying to, I guess, reabsorb a lot of that Mumford and Sons sound, because I miss it. I do miss it. I mean, it's like this. It's very comforting, regardless of what you say about how they've changed their styles. Whatever, they're evolving. It doesn't matter. Everybody should. but kind of reabsorbing that sound and just his voice, just his freaking voice. I miss that in my life. And then also honestly the music video for
Yes.
shoot, what is that song?
I don't remember what song it is, but I know what you're about to say.
Oh no, what is that song?
Music videos are a thing.
There was a music video for a Mumford & Sons song.
I legitimately don't think I've seen a music video for Mumford & Sons.
Hopeless Wanderer.
Right. So they did it.
Oh,
they
yeah,
did
it's
it-
a great
there
song.
was there was a music video that they did for Hopeless Wanderer, and it was an official music video. Official Mumford & Sons music video with Ed Helms, Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and
Will Forte.
Will
Yeah.
Forte. And they were the band. They were
Yeah.
Mumford & Sons.
Yeah.
And I watch it on a regular basis.
I'm so disappointed. I've never heard of this until
All right, I'm
now.
texting it to you now.
It's fantastic.
It is fan-freaking-tastic.
Because Ed Helms is like actually, I don't know about the other ones, but
Yeah.
Ed Helms is like actually
Banjo.
playing because
Yeah.
he's a dude on the banjo.
My
He
favorite
is.
person.
He's
my favorite-
remarkable.
Yeah, and my favorite character in that whole thing is Jason Bateman. I think he sells the whole thing because he's
I'm so excited.
brilliant. All right, I'm sending it to y'all now.
This
I'm
will
a big
take
Jason Bateman fan.
my depression to just another level, because if I'm listening to Mumford, I'm depressed, but I don't know it yet. Like I have to get a couple albums in, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm really depressed. So now,
Really?
I can watch something. It'll be great.
Mumford & Sons, especially Sigh No More, puts me into a rage. Like a good rage. Like I want to burn down. Like it brings out all of the hate within me and makes me want to burn the world down.
Interesting.
It's
So-
I don't know. It's energizing.
Yeah.
I made a video, like a slideshow video of Crystals and my honeymoon to Boston, and I used the song "Awake My Soul" for that. And
It's a good song.
yeah, it is. I'm not sure it fit entirely, like thematically, but it's a beautiful song and
Excellent
it's
harmonies
still-
in it.
Yeah, it still kind of makes me tear up, but yeah.
Sigh No More, the whole album is just this it's depressing. It can be depressing if you listen to it through a certain lens, but the whole concept of the album is this positive self-realization of what can happen out of depression, out of the somberness of the world, and how we can be empowered to better ourselves, to better ourselves, and to take our own power. I guess there's a lot of positivity out of that depressive sort of sound. It's a great album.
When
That's
they
a
come
great
to
album.
the casino, drinks on me.
Okay.
Drinks on me.
When they hit the
All right.
casino, I'm pretty sure we're going to be too like. We're
Mark,
gonna be like, we're gonna be falling asleep at like 8:30 by the time Mumford & Sons is hitting the casino.
I will get us the suite and drinks on me. We will party it up. Walkers. Or rascals.
You should 100% see Mumford. Like out of all of this that we've talked about, everything, good music, but really they take a genre of music that I feel like is not necessarily one that you would think would be this super exciting, big scale show, but they do an excellent job entertaining.
Well, if we ever get back to a life where we can go to concerts, I will.
Good.
In the right venue.
Me too.
JEXA. Or whatever it's
A
called.
casino, WinStar.
A casino.
Not the Palladium.
Oh, if it's not my casino, I'm not buying drinks.
Okay, well, you said casino. And
Right.
If
Just
it's not
kinda-
my casino, I'm not buying drinks. White people buy drinks at casinos. Like you treat the Indian people you go with. That's a rule.
I don't want to do that now.
Well, if you don't want to support indigenous people, then that's on you.
I do. I just have no money and I want to go. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Thank you.
I'll buy you a screwdriver.
But
Not an
actual
specific
literal
thing to
tool.
buy.
If
from
we go
Delta.
if we go on like the casino floor, like aren't drinks free? I'll get you all the drinks on the casino floor.
well, you have to be like playing a game.
Right.
Well, it depends because in Oklahoma it's not like that.
I think that's in Vegas. I think that's only a Vegas.
It is. No,
No,
it is like that in
It's
Mississippi.
it's
I
like
can
that
say
in Shreveport. I can
But
say that.
it's not in Oklahoma because it's illegal in Oklahoma.
Are you mansplaining casinos to me?
Ooh,
I'm a mansplaining casinos to
not.
Michael.
yes. Thank you, Trey.
You're welcome,
Thank
Michael.
you for explaining that to me. Trey, what is the band that
There's
you
no
should have seen by
excuse.
now?
There's no excuse. I've had multiple opportunities. I love him. I think his music's incredible. It's fun. I've had many opportunities. I just haven't done it, and I don't know why. And I have to because now he's apparently retiring from live touring. Elton John. I need to see him. I should have done it when before all of this happened. He was doing his Goodbye Yellow Brick Road tour, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go see it. I can either see him in Birmingham or New Orleans. He's going to both. And then, damn COVID just derailed the whole thing. Supposedly, he is resuming his tour later this year, so I'm already planning on doing it. I should have seen Elton John by now, and I'm going to see him before he dies because he'll definitely die before me.
Sure.
He had tickets.
You had tickets?
He had tickets.
Mm. I mean, when I was in college, he came to Birmingham twice while I was in college, but I was the only person, and I don't know, I feel like I just needed new friends maybe. I was the only person in my entire friend group who was even remotely interested in going to see Elton John. And so I just didn't. I was like, well, I'm not gonna go see Elton John by myself. That sounds awful to just go sit but I'm gonna see him.
In my experience, Elton John is one of those artists that people don't realize how much they love him because they don't realize how many songs are him or his songs. And so sometimes I just have to start playing Elton John songs for people, for them to like finally succumb and say like, okay, fine, he's good. Leave me alone. And then I'm like, all right, whatever. We're in line at Walmart. I don't know you, but you said you didn't like Elton John. You're wrong.
And I can't speak to it because I've obviously never seen him because he's on my list. And he's older now, but I've never spoken to anyone who has seen Elton John live who has not raved about his live performance. I mean, he is an entertainer to his core.
I wonder if there's people back in those drug-induced days who might say, because I think there were a few concerts there where he just like passed out at the piano.
Yeah, but even then they were on drugs too. So they were probably just passing out. I mean,
He levitated, man.
Nap time.
Just like fell asleep on the piano and started flying through the arena. It was beautiful.
Just so into it.
I don't think that happened. No, Elton John. I love his music, and he is a classic entertainer, and I need to see him before he retires.
That's a good one. That honestly might have been mine, but it's not. I chose bands that I should have seen by now. I chose Arcade Fire just because they're kind of a modern band in terms of bands that like are in probably my top 5 current going bands. And I've never seen them, and I think they would be really, really cool to see. I've heard they're really cool to see, but I love Arcade Fire. So that's my pick.
Weren't they? They were on someone's on the Musers. They were on someone's list of greatest band they've seen live.
I don't remember.
I think they were. I may be misremembering, but that just speaks to like clearly that if that is the case, they clearly have a great live show.
I've heard they're really good, and they're especially their latest album. Like I would love to see a lot of that stuff live, which you don't usually say about bands, but yeah, their latest album, which wasn't so well received.
Have they done anything since Everything Now? Are you talking about Everything Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that their latest?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been a few years. But yeah.
There's been a lot of people there were a lot of people who poo-pooed that
Oh,
album.
I loved
and
it.
man,
I thought it was great.
I think it's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, just yes. When Butler has a way of like channeling righteous anger in a really cool way in his music. And that I appreciate, and it makes sense because like his dad was a preacher, and he has a lot of righteous anger at the church. I think, especially if you
Just
listen to
Neon
Neon Bible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see them live. Oh,
Sean, what's yours?
Arcade Fire. Mine's Leon Bridges. Fort Worth's own Leon Bridges. I
Oh, really? I didn't know he's from Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, dude. Are you serious? You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Born and raised in Fort Worth.
Didn't he wait
So is Post
tables
Malone.
at where did he wait tables? Am I making that up?
Not El Phoenix, was it? I don't know. I don't remember. Something like that. But like
waited tables somewhere.
Yeah, he did. The guy will show up. The guy will show up at random places around Fort Worth still and play. Back when Bearded Lady was over on Magnolia, right? That's where it was, right? The old Bearded Lady.
Yeah.
So back when it was over on Magnolia, he showed up there once and just played a show with an acoustic guitar. He's
cool.
played at Magnolia Motor Lounge randomly with an acoustic guitar. He will just go around and play places. They did a full a concert during the pandemic to support Southside Fort Worth. He played at the Frank Kent and Co. there on Magnolia. A full concert there. The guy plays in Fort Worth randomly with no tickets and no. I mean, he'll just show up and play. And I have yet to see him in an official capacity or randomly showing up at places that I go on a regular stinking basis. And I adore Leon Bridges. His Texas Sun EP is unbelievable. It's 4 songs, and I can't help but listen to all 4 every time I listen to it. His Fort Worth roots are strong, and I'm bummed that I have not seen him in person yet.
I heard he showed up once at the Taco Bell on Roof Snow.
Nope.
I wouldn't freaking doubt it, honestly.
That shows a genuine love to just make music that he's willing to do that, though. Like, doesn't care about money or anything. He wants to make music.
And he loves Fort Worth.
I looked it up real quick.
Multiple Fort Worth tattoos.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't know he was from Fort Worth with all of this like wealth of Fort Worth information.
Because Fort Worth is better than Dallas.
100%.
And it's blue now, so
it is.
Hell yeah.
Thumbs up.
I just looked it up. If it's not El Phoenix, it's quite the opposite. He worked at Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse.
Yes.
While he was.
Yeah.
That is very different.
El Phoenix, Del Frisco's Double Eagle.
We should have named the podcast "Fort Worth is better than Dallas."
Absolutely.
I mean, we still have to.
I guess we still could.
Even we went to Dallas the other day, and Ollie, the 5-year-old, is like, "Mama, I like our city better."
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Like,
On the way there, you listen to a lot of Nelly.
we did so much.
Screaming over the Nelly. Ollie.
Ollie's just screaming over "Welcome to Nellyville."
He's gonna be so embarrassed by us.
Well, yes, he's your son.
Oh,
So yeah. Stacy, greatest band to see live.
I think this actually is the last concert I ever went to, and it was when Dustin and I lived in Kentucky, and we drove all the way to Cincinnati to see this band, and it was outside, and there was definitely a layer
Snow.
substance, and
Cypress Hill. Yep.
Heroin.
it was Tom Petty. He bought Tom Petty tickets for like our anniversary
Oh,
thing. I don't know. And surprised me, and we went. And it was like the chillest concert I've ever been to. And we just had like, we're just outside on the grass, and it was so fantastic and just very chill. He played all the songs, and it was like, it was a really long concert too. And I don't think there was a band before. I think it was just Tom Petty just hanging out.
Sean and I have seen Petty Theft.
That's true. I've seen them twice.
That's the closest I've come to seeing Tom Petty.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
and the closest you'll ever come
and the closest I'll
that's-
ever
yeah.
come. Yeah.
Closest.
Yeah.
until like many years from now when holograms happen.
Next year.
Actually, that's a thing right now.
Yeah, I think that is.
They did that with Michael Jackson a couple
Somebody.
years after he died. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just a good show. There wasn't any like, I don't know, there wasn't any fanciness. It was just Tom Petty.
So with all the Tom Petty love, is Stacy the only one who's seen Tom Petty live in this group?
I think so. Good job, Stacy.
Oh wow. Wow.
I've got that.
You win the Tom Petty
Award.
award.
You are the American girl.
You are the great heartbreaker.
Can I have that on a shirt? That would be
You can make whatever shirt you want.
Right. You own a cricket.
I don't remember that Tom Petty song.
What?
You
American?
can make whatever shirt you like.
He did have that beautiful hit, You Own a Cricket, though.
That one was about me too.
It was about
What
me
did you
too.
do at that concert, Stacy?
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
All right, Trey. Greatest band to see live.
So I don't go to a lot of live concerts. To me, I don't much just honestly enjoy them. I would rather experience it alone, listening to a new album, new music, than having this big, massive experience. However, there is, I have, however, been to several, and there's one that just from a pure entertainment standpoint, that I respect her, and I think she's a phenomenal vocalist, but to see her live was like another level of entertainment. I saw it at the AAC in Dallas, Pink. It was
Did not see that coming.
It was a spectacular show. I mean, she was doing things on stage and literally in the air while belting and singing as like boisterously and fantastically as she can, because she has an incredible voice, great belter. And she was doing it all while like somersaulting and doing all this stuff. And I was just blown away at the sheer athleticism of what she was doing while also singing. It really was a spectacle. And it was just incredibly entertaining. It was remarkable. Pink. Greatest ever entertaining live show I've ever seen.
Doesn't she use those like silk things? Those silk swing things?
Maybe.
Steel drums.
I was
They're like these. Like,
I'm not gonna say
fabric.
like I could see her moving through the air, but also she was about this big because I was poor. So
Yes.
we were
She-
sitting on like genuinely like the 7th to last row.
She looked more purple. Thank you, Sean.
And,
Dad.
incredibly
There was a
entertaining
dad
show.
joke, and then
I
followed
laughed
by a dad laugh.
It's too much. I laughed too much at that.
And incredibly entertaining show. She was and a great singer. She really is.
Her name is Alicia Moore, which is the same name as Crystal's sister.
Yeah.
No,
They
I think
share
it's
a
Pink.
So,
I think her
so
name's Pink.
Crystal's sister is Pink.
original
And
name is.
she's married to Carrie Hart.
What?
No, she's Pink.
I don't know who Carrie Hart is.
Oh, he's a motorcycle guy. I used to watch a lot of E Channel before I had children. He's a motorcycle
Wait,
X Games guy.
like
Those are-
E Network, like Entertainment Network? E?
Yeah.
What does motorcycles have to do with that?
Because they know who's married to who. But also, like,
Okay, all right.
that was also
Fair.
really like the motocross, like world.
Okay.
What if that was the whole network though? E Network's just like who's married to who, and they're like, yeah, Sean Edens got married to Crystal today. Then a little bit later,
I used
yeah,
to know all that stuff.
Jenny
Who was-
and Michael got married.
All right. Okay. E.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Talk soup.
you know
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then I
Talk soup.
seemed to
All right.
matter.
Michael,
Great.
what's your greatest band you've seen live?
Josh Ritter.
Yeah.
Trey mentioned earlier the pure joy that he has performing for people is infectious in a room, no matter how big that room is. And I truly think that he loves it more than anything in the world. And I think a lot of musicians say that, and I don't think they mean it. And I really think that he does, like, just loves it more than anything in the world. And also he puts, you can tell that he and his band put so much thought into their performance. I think every night to just create an experience for people. And I think it's his live show that really is the thing that makes you succumb to his energy in terms of like becoming a Josh Ritter diehard. You can love his music, you can love his lyrics, but I think when you see him live, there's just something about like, okay, no, like this is, I have to come to this. Like, well, at least for me, I was like, I have to see him every single time I possibly can. And I think I've seen him 7 times now, either 6 or 7, but and he never gets old. It never gets old. He's just is the best live performance I could possibly even recommend to anybody. And it's not big. Like it's not U2, it's not Pink. It's not like he's not playing to a stadium. It's very small usually. Like usually when he comes into town, he plays at the Granada, which is a pretty small venue. But that's a part of, I think, what makes it special. And it's also a part of why I kind of like that he's underappreciated. And I hope there's a selfish part of me that hopes he stays underappreciated so that he doesn't sell out big arenas. Cause I feel like that might vanish or at least, go down a little bit. But it truly, and I've said this before many times, but it is church. Like whenever I see him live, I'm like, I know that he doesn't mean it to be this way, but it is a worshipful experience. Stacy, you have not seen Josh Ritter.
I have not.
You're the only one of us who hasn't because you have the Tom Petty Award.
Right.
And you hate Josh Ritter, so
I
Yeah.
don't. I
You
like
think he's a CCM artist.
you can only listen to Josh Ritter while doing yoga.
I mean, I really like that. Taking a bath.
I always liked Josh Ritter, but I never really bought into him necessarily. I listened to his music and thought it was really good. The first time I saw him live was with y'all. And the only reason I saw him live was because Eric Scarr offered me tickets to go to that concert. And I remember after the concert, like in the week after, telling Sean that infectious joy, it like watching him perform on stage made me as a musician want to be better. It made me want to be more relatable and relate my joy more from the stage of how much I love music. Just seeing him, it was infectious. And then there was also like skeptical side of me is like, because I remember at that specific concert, he said, "This is the first stop. This is the beginning of our tour." And so I was like, oh, okay, well, he's just not tired or jaded yet. And so he, shortly after I moved to Mobile, he came here to Mobile and did sort of what you were talking about earlier, Michael, the Renaissance man type thing. He did a musical set Q&A and reading of his newest book. And it was that exact same thing. You know, he had come off of tour to do this side thing real quick, just him and his bassist, the guy that with the exceptional mustache.
Zachariah Hickman.
Yes. And it was the exact same thing. Even amidst touring, taking a break from that to do a quick side trip to do this Q&A lecture type thing. It was this exuding of joy. He is a special person outside of even being a musician. I think he's a special person.
The last time Jenny and I saw him, we drove down to Austin to see him, and about halfway through, you could tell his voice was starting to go, and so he referenced it and was just like, you know, my voice is starting to go. I don't know what's going on. Da da da. And so you could tell, number one, he switched the set list around to be able to sing better, but certain songs. But also, like, it was really it was almost sad because you could tell how bummed he was. And like right after that show, he canceled like the next, almost month, I think. And then I want to say COVID hit. I could be wrong, but I want to say COVID hit around that time. But he canceled his shows after that show, and that's how sick he was. But you could tell like just how completely bummed out he was, and he kept like apologizing, which what rock star, or not that he's a rock star, but like what like musician gets up on stage with a bunch of adoring fans and like keeps apologizing? But he just felt so bad. Like you could tell that he was just like, I'm really sorry. Like he just seems like a very genuine dude. And honestly, it was cool to see him kind of switch up things and do some songs, which he probably wouldn't have done in the first place. But so yeah, even when he's like not on his best night, he still, you can tell he just wants to give it his all. Sean?
My favorite band to see live. Michael and I were supposed to see him, and Jeremy, we were supposed to go see him at a United Methodist Church in Dallas.
That'd have
Actually,
been
he was
so
doing
cool.
a tour. I know.
To see him in a church.
Of churches and like
What church?
iconic theaters.
Was it Oaklawn?
It was, I don't know.
I don't remember.
It was in correlation to the Keller. Like they did they were the partner kind of venue. So I don't know. It was over in that area, but I don't remember. Anyway, but they canceled it completely. Actually, I don't even think they rescheduled it. But so that was.
This is around COVID time.
It was right at the beginning. Yeah, he was supposed to. It was like May of last year. They were supposed to play, and he canceled it pretty early on. But yeah, I mean, everything you all said. I mean, was at a church conference once, and the conversation, we were supposed to kind of like have a conversation with the people around us about where we have experienced worship outside of the church, and I said, honestly, the experience of singing a song that we all just know, without rehearsing, but somehow everyone's able to sing in this almost perfect harmony, this song that we all just know by heart, at a Josh Ritter concert was like Michael was saying, just an act of worship in and of itself. Just the creativity and the joy of the connection, of union, of community, existing in this space and not knowing a single other person outside of my group, but somehow we're all connected to this song that has resonated with us in a primal way. That experience, I have not been able to replicate that in any other concert I've ever attended. And that's moving to me even now to think about.
Yeah. And his concerts are they're very like that in terms of like each song almost there's some kind of sing along going on.
Yeah.
And he encourages that. He's huge in Ireland. And he brings a lot of that like pub song sing along kind of thing to his And
when
so
Crystal and I were there were posters for him in Ireland, like all over the place. It was nuts. I was like,
they love him.
He was big there before he was big here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Kessler Park United Methodist.
There you go.
Kessler Park. I was just going to say, I think it speaks to the volume of how incredible he is live that's our first repeat of this entire thing. We haven't repeated a single artist in any category until this. Yeah. Both of you have said that. And I think that just speaks volumes to what an incredible live performer he is.
Yeah. All right, Stacy, band that you love. And this is our last one, band that you love.
Is it bad that I didn't even remember what I wrote?
Yes. You didn't write it down?
I don't think that means you love them.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know, Nelly, whatever.
You said I couldn't repeat things.
But if I could, Nelly.
Yeah, I really do love Nelly. This is so hard because it just depends on what kind of mood I am in so many ways. But I wrote Sublime.
All right.
I'm 17 again.
I like Sublime. That's good.
It's just like feels good and makes me feel young.
Yes, Sublime is very feel good music.
Absolutely.
Reminds me of home. Just that southern.
Little Sublime, little Third Eye Blind.
Yeah.
Little Creed.
No.
Well, too far.
But no, if you don't like that, I'll leave it.
It's on your playlist, Trey, but not on mine.
Little Linkin Park.
Sublime was one of the so what I got, which was a very popular Sublime song and like a really just badass song. That's a great song. That's one of those songs that like for whatever reason I heard and listened to the reprise version, and everybody else listened to the original version.
Say it that way.
Did I say it weird?
Reprise.
How do you? I don't know if I've ever said that word before.
Just reprised.
Reprise?
No.
Reprise?
Am I saying
the way
it
you're saying? Reprised.
Reprise?
Reprised.
Reprise?
Just reprise.
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 Do you know how like you have those words that you've seen all your life, but then you suddenly realize when you first say it that you've never actually said that word? That
so
just
it's interesting.
To me.
Reprise is one of those for me, actually.
It's reprise and reprise.
Right.
So reprise,
it's reprise
typically as a noun. So like like this is agony reprise.
Okay.
But I reprise this song.
Right.
That's confusing.
Anyway,
so it's reprise.
Either way,
I had
the way you said reprised, just like that.
So it's reprise.
If it's a noun, yes.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, I was the one listening to an alternate version of the song that everybody else was.
Good.
And so that would come out in really awkward moments with people.
Is it because of Tony Hawk? That game?
I don't know.
So they're hearing the radio edit, I'm guessing. And you were hearing the original?
Oh, I don't know. No. Like, so on that album that's on, Are you trying to get me to say the word again? They do the song again at the end of the album.
What's another word for that, though?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that any term. And it was the song at the end.
The song at the end of the album.
Yes, and the song at the end of the album was the one that I had like on Napster. Right.
Oh, Napster.
Okay. Yeah, and like everybody else knew the original one that was like actually being played on the radio.
They got it from LimeWire.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
So they get Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake founded Napster.
Right.
Yes. I saw that movie.
He called it the Napster, but told them to drop the.
Nah, man. No, the.
A lot of people knew that song from, I think it was Tony Hawk or like one of those skateboard video games.
Maybe.
And it was like one
I could see that.
Quick side note: did any of y'all follow Tony Hawk on Twitter?
No.
You should. He's incredibly funny.
Okay.
And most of the time, he's tweeting about how people tell him that he looks like that guy Tony Hawk.
I'm just gonna trust you that he's funny though.
It's really funny.
I'm probably not gonna check it out for myself, but
I texted y'all about this, but this is
Whatever, Sean.
one of those things where you don't listen to me. But the Eve 6 guy,
Yes, everybody follows
Yeah.
Eve 6.
we know.
well, you never answered me about this.
Here's sorry. Here's another Stacy thing. I don't mean this to be a beat up thing on Stacy. I'm sorry. I love you, Stacy. You know I love you very much, and you know that I wouldn't say this if I didn't love you. But another thing that you will do
You're feeding
is
into her own insecurity.
something will become really popular, and then 6 months later, Stacy is letting us know about it.
But I
Have you
never
guys-
know. No,
you
you
guys-
never tell me. No one ever tells me.
You guys
Sorry,
totally need
I'm
to watch
sorry.
The Mandalorian.
I'm sorry.
Y'all watch The Mandalorian. It's this new show I found, and it's
But
awesome.
yes,
Have
you
you seen
were-
The Mandalorian?
Eve 6 is a funny follow on Twitter, though. Yes.
But
Yes, it
the
is.
Umbrella Academy, y'all did not watch that.
No,
You're right.
I've not.
I
watched
thought
it.
I
True.
watched it. I watched it a good chunk of time after you told us to, and
Like,
I regretted not jumping in when you told me to because that's a good show.
I'm
That's
not.
fun.
I'm not
It's a
not
fun show.
watching it in protest. I just haven't gotten around to
Yeah.
it.
there
Don't
are-
trust him.
It's just
He
still
told
on
me he
my
was watching it in
list.
protest. He told me he wasn't going to watch it in protest.
That's not true.
Michael, you do that.
I
You
don't.
do.
Yes,
What
you
He
do.
said.
You do.
About
He
what?
said, "This is in protest of Nelly."
This is ridiculous. What have I not watched in protest,
I
Stacey?
don't know. West Wing.
all the time that you would love, and you're like, I'm not doing that.
What? Like what? Give me an example.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name.
This is one of the things where people in church do like, yeah, this person told me. And you're like, what person? They're like,
No, it's so good.
It was me.
I don't know who to think of real quick to not express that it's actually my opinion.
Right? Yeah.
No,
I
he
heard
writes-
3 people.
y'all.
3 people said they didn't like your shoes.
That's so.
I-
What 3 people? What 3 people?
I'm not going to tell
Um,
you. That's confidential.
That's rude.
I don't want to gossip. I'm still waiting, Stacy.
I'm trying to think of his name, but he writes young adults.
Oh no, I'm not going to read that.
No, but
I'm not. In protest, I'm not going to read that.
he writes them in poems.
What?
He writes, it's like a poem, and it's like, it is so good. And I want you to listen to the audiobook. I don't actually want you to read it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Robert Frost.
I told you like 50
Shel
times.
Silverstein.
No, it's a it's
He was a socialist.
pretty,
Roald Dahl.
I follow him on Twitter. He wrote about like gang violence.
Dr. Seuss.
Really good. Oh,
I don't remember this at all.
he's so good. It's so good. And I'll send it to you again. You'll ignore me. And then in 3 years, you'll be like, oh my God, have you listened to this?
It's for young adults.
That's who he primarily writes for.
Well, I'm not a young adult, so he
No,
doesn't
but you-
write for me.
It's really good.
It's not for me.
Roald Dahl.
Listen to me. The
I've
next
read a lot of Roald Dahl.
time
Roald
something-
Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl.
The
something-
Roald Dahl.
Roger.
The Roald Dahl.
The Roger.
Roald Dahl.
What are we on? Who's up?
Not me.
Me.
It's Trey.
Band that you love.
Benny you love.
No offense to Brian May or Roger Taylor,
Oh no.
but the band that I absolutely love, Queen, 100% Queen, and it's no offense to them, but it is everything to do with Freddie Mercury.
Oh,
I adore Freddie Mercury. His story, his life are remarkable. Rami Malek is him in
Bohemian
what's the
Rhapsody.
movie? Bohemian Rhapsody, their number 1 hit ever. He's incredible. Freddie Mercury was a remarkable human being, and as incredible as a vocalist he was, I still think he's underappreciated. Just the absolute raw, incredible talent. I never get tired of listening to him sing. Uh, he was, I think, ahead of his time in terms of the artistry that he had. Queen, 100%. I absolutely love him. If there is any voice I could ever wish upon myself, it would be Freddie Mercury's voice.
I think he's the greatest male vocalist of all time.
I vehemently agree.
If you haven't ever done it, try and find some of his isolated vocals.
Yes.
Yeah,
on
no,
stuff.
I have.
It
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
Under pressure.
His ability to I just can't imagine an easier mix. I just feel like his engineers and his producers were just so happy to make the money that they made off the minimal work they probably had to do with his tracks. I mean, he was a remarkable human being and a remarkable musician.
Yeah. And
I don't know if in our lifetime we will ever get to experience a singer of his caliber. I mean, it's something else. It was very special. I just love the music. The eccentricities of their music. And again, no offense to Brian May or Rob Shaler, because they had a lot to do with it as well. So I shouldn't even say that. The Queen's music in and of itself, it's artistic. It is fun. There is depth to it. There is interest. I love Queen.
Yeah, they're great. I always I don't know where I saw this, but at some point I saw footage. It was a long time ago. I saw footage of him. It was after he had been diagnosed with the AIDS virus, and he was dying, and he knew he was dying. But they were still doing shows, and nobody knew that he was dying. But there's footage of him looking wrong. Like, I mean, you can tell, and it may be hindsight, but you can tell like he is wasting away. And the footage of him singing "The Show Must Go On" in that period is some of the most affecting footage I've ever seen. It always bothered me that it wasn't in the movie, but that's nitpicking. It's like why wasn't the thing that I really liked in this movie? But
this is a really good.
It was a very good movie, and it's sort of akin, I guess, to Josh Ritter, like on a larger scale. Like, you said you selfishly don't want Josh Ritter to get bigger, but you can watch videos of Freddie Mercury from the 70s and 80s performing and see that he lived to be on that stage. There was no greater joy. There was nothing else he wanted to do than to be on that stage in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And he was just a remarkable talent. I think a once in a generation type thing.
And I don't think they get enough credit for how much they pushed things. Like, I mean, I think they are they are very Beatles-like in the sense of just the things that they pushed for, and that seemed
this
bizarre.
Bohemian Rhapsody,
right? Yeah,
it was incredibly unpopular when it first came out.
Yeah,
and now it's just transcended culture and become this phenom.
Yeah,
I remember. I mean, we were all stupid in high school, just raging to it at every single high school prom and homecoming dance. It was like, it would come on and we were just like, hell yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. And we didn't even fully understand or appreciate what it was. We would just start screaming about Galileo and
Wayne's World.
It's a special thing.
Yeah.
Queen is, I love them.
A band that I love, Radiohead. I feel like Radiohead is one of those bands that is incredibly well thought of, but no one really talks about anymore, at least from from my perspective. But I love Radiohead still, and even the new stuff that they release, which they're very sparse about the new stuff that they release. But when they do release it, I still think it's tremendously good, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I get that. But I love. They were the first band that I ever saw in real time go from uh, being thought of as like the next best thing in music after uh, Pablo Honey, and then releasing OK Computer and throwing everybody for a loop, and basically being like, we don't want to be your next best thing. Like we want to grow our sound and we want to be something different. And then doing it even more with their following albums, making it even weirder than OK Computer was. But Radiohead is one of those bands that's like their music is something to tap into as opposed to listen to, if that makes any sense. But it's just it's an experience and it's a mood.
That's a throwback. I love and appreciate Radiohead. I don't remember the last time I actually spent time listening to them.
That's what I'm saying.
And I feel like I need to revisit it now.
Like everybody, I don't think like so many people think great things about Radiohead and like acknowledge how good they are, but I don't think many people, they're just not on in the public consciousness as much as I think they still should be. And I don't know why.
But I think it's like you said, it's easy for it to fall off your radar if they're not releasing stuff. We live in an age where things are being released at a faster pace than ever.
Yeah, and to be fair, they don't cater very well to capitalism. Like, I mean, when they released In Rainbows, that was the first time I had ever seen anyone do anything like that, where they were just like, yeah, come on our website and you can pay whatever you want for it and you can have it. And I thought that was the most badass thing I had ever seen, not just because I was poor at the time, I didn't have a lot of money, but also just because they were just like, we have so much money already, like we don't need more, and we don't need a record company to tell us like what to do and how to do it. We don't need any of that. We're going to release our stuff just on its own. And I believe they still do that a lot of times. But yeah, I really like Radiohead.
Have you ever listened to the, what is it? 0110 or whatever? What is it? It's OK Computer and In
OK
Rainbows.
Cupid.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Where you alternate the songs.
Mm-hmm.
It's trippy, dude.
Yeah. It's cool.
And I can see it. Like I could hear it. I could hear. Yeah. There's a theory, I guess, that if you put their first album and their 10th, is that or In Rainbows, what number is that? Or whatever it is.
I don't remember what In Rainbows is. OK
Yeah.
Computer is their second.
Okay. OK Computer and In Rainbows, and you.
Oh wait, that's not even true. Sorry. So no, I'm sorry. The Bins is their second. OK Computer is their third.
Okay, but if you alternate the songs from those two albums, just back to back, then it makes and you have to set your crossfade at a certain number as well. It creates a seamless album.
Mm-hmm.
But like they don't. I mean, they didn't say this. There's no evidence except just to listen to it.
Right.
And people have done this on Spotify. You can go find Spotify playlists and set your crossfade at, 2 seconds or whatever it is, and actually experience it. But it's very trippy. And I mean, and the thing is that I wouldn't hold it past them. I would not.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems totally calculated. But my first experience with them was OK Computer. I bought OK Computer when I was in high school. And I'm not kidding. It kind of scared me. And it's because going back to MTV, man, it's because I saw the music video for Paranoid Android. and I was like, ooh, this is awesome. And so I bought the album and I was like, this is different and weird. I don't like the way this makes me feel inside. I was, 16 years old, and I mean, but I love it now. Yeah.
All right, Sean, band that you love.
Band that I love, the Decemberists.
Great.
It's a weird one. I know. That's a
No,
strange
it's a
choice,
good one.
but
That's not a strange choice. That's a great choice.
I am fairly new to the Decemberists just in the last few years. But they're kind of built on storytelling. They have an amazing album. I think I got it here, Hazards of Love,
Yes.
which is unbelievable.
Stacy, you would love Hazards of Love if you
would.
have not listened to it, because it's a narrative album.
It is a narrative album.
Love
It's
that.
an entire story.
I will check it out.
And yeah, but I love the Decemberists. They're very honest about their political stance, which is a thumbs up as well. So bonus there. But they Colin Malloy, I love his voice. I mean, it's so unique and so strange, and I adore it. Not because it's beautiful or perfect, but it's unique. And I think Crystal and I saw them in concert a couple of years ago for the first time, and it was so fun. It was just fun, I mean, there are concerts where it's intense and it's moving and it's like this multi-sensory experience, but this one was just fun. I mean, they're just weird and strange, and they do these things that are specific to their live shows, and they change their set list like every night. So, I mean, every show they do on a tour is different. They may start and end with the same song, but everything in the middle is completely different.
That's cool.
It's crazy.
I was looking at the set list because when they're on tour, they post the set lists from every show. Anytime they have a show, they'll post a set list from that show that after the show is over. And I was looking at the few nights before we went, and I was kind of trying to figure out what to expect. And it was different. It was completely different from a couple nights before. They have a couple of things that they do every time. They have a song called the Mariner's Revenge song, which is about somebody getting swallowed by a whale, and he's in there with the man that basically drove his mother to death, and how he like reacts to that. It's the storytelling is unbelievable, but the whole thing live, they have a giant inflatable whale that floats around the entire audience, and it's crazy. It's nuts. But they're really funny. Colin Malloy is hysterical. They have a song that was supposed to be in Hamilton about Benjamin Franklin, which is hysterical. And but anyway, that's my band that I love, the Decemberists.
They're one of those bands that when I first heard them, it was a song from the Crane Wife, and it was something that I overheard, and it was just one of those things that made me go, what is this? This is different and weird, and it sounds old, but I really like it. And yeah, that's kind of their bit, is that kind of an oral telling, kind of the way that like stories, are passed down through like oral traditions. It seems like the songs that they sing were not written by them, but were passed down through generations, which they weren't. They were just written by them, but they sound like these old songs that have some sort of cultural influence from somewhere. They write music and perform music that is unlike anything else. 100%.
I don't know if I've ever given them adequate time. Like I hear stuff in passing, but I don't know if I've ever just like sat down and ever listened to them. But I can now add them to the list.
Yes, and they have a prominent place in an episode of The Office.
Yes.
And their music video for
What episode?
they sang. Well, it was that episode. It was supposed to be a pilot for the new. For the
Is the
episode.
Dwight episode? I know
Yeah,
exactly.
Sons
what
and
you're talking
Daughters.
about,
They sang Sons and Daughters.
Oh, that was Decembers were a part of that?
Well, they weren't in it. They sang one of their songs. But
Yep.
Anyway, and then the music video for a song called "Make You Better" stars Nick Offerman on a fictional German television show, which is amazing. So
how have I not seen that?
I would definitely look up on YouTube, "Make You Better."
That's a
music
great
video.
song.
You can send it
It's
to
really
us.
funny. It is a fantastic song. I listen to
All right. Well, that's us. So we set up an email if anybody who is still hanging in there with us wants to yell at us or tell us how wrong we are or tell us how Rush truly is the pride of Canada. Or just give us your answers. We would love to hear your answers as well to these things. Or suggest some topics for us to do that you might like to see us do. You can email us at Keller Bear. Oh, what just happened? You can. I'm getting bombarded with emails or with text messages.
Everyone's like reaching out already. They're so excited.
You can email us at kellerbearhasapodcast@gmail.com. All right. See you guys next month.
So from all of us here,
Much love.
hold on, I gotta change venues.
Oh, okay.
Yep, give me just a few minutes. I'm sorry, it's gonna be just a second.
You're fine.
So I guess this is my podcast now, where you talk about indigenous screaming cats and ships.